So here we are with one of my favorite guys. I got to admit, we have a lot of fun. You can't not have fun with this guy. So this is Steven with a PH, and his channel is at RipFan8. How you doing, Steven?
Greg, I'm doing wonderful. Very happy. Really excited to be with you.
Now, we met for the first time in Strongsville last year. And we're gonna get to what happened for you at Strongsville in a little bit. If you're not a subscriber to Steven's channel, you really should be a subscriber to his channel, because I got to tell you, if you like looking at cool cards, when he picks stuff up, they're awesome cards, and he is all about the eye appeal. So he picks up fantastic cards. So check out his channel if you haven't yet. And as we kind of do here, before we get to, your 20 questions for me, I've got a few questions for you. And it kind of, I think, is fun to talk just because we love talking cards. But also it's fun because people get to know you a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the screen here. So again, this is his channel, Steven with a PH. And even look, the shirts. So we got matching shirts on. Everybody check that out. So at RipFan8, he's at 190 subscribers, guys. This is criminal that he doesn't have more than that. So my challenge to Midlife Nation is, let's put him over 250. Let's add 60 to him. We gotta. I'm telling you, we'll not regret this. So check his channel out. Give him a sub, just like me. See right here, and you'll be glad. So my first question for you, my friend, is as follows. You've been collecting a player in a particular, like one player in particular, you've been focused on for the past few months at least. I'd say year maybe. Tell us who that player is and why you're kind of focused on him, and kind of which cards you've purchased, which cards are you looking to add. So tell us about that player and why you're collecting him.
Okay, well, first of all, Greg, thanks for the shout out for the channel and all that. I really appreciate that. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this question. The individual or the player I've been really hunting more so the past close to 16, 18 months is Jackie Robinson. I've remember watching tons of stuff about him. I mean, we all know his history and all that. But this really took flight a year ago, this past April, at the Strongsville show, which I went to with my good friend and buddy Mike Samuel at Canadian Cards. We went down there, and he picked up on the Saturday, I believe, he picked up the 1949 Bowman Jackie card. And that was because he's been collecting the 49 Bowman set, and it was Jackie Day in baseball. So talking to him that night, I'm thinking, you know what? Knowing what I know about ball, I thought, you know what? I'm going back Sunday morning before I take off. Maybe I'll buy one of his cards. I've yet to purchase anything from him or of his cards. So I thought to myself, check out Sunday morning before we take off. I go down there. I end up picking up a 1955 Topps Jackie, and that was my first Jackie card. And from there is where it took off. I mean, being up here from Canada, I have obviously a rich history with hockey. I mean, I played all the sports, mind you, but being from Canada, hockey, being from Brantford, Ontario, home of Wayne Gretzky, hockey. But baseball was always my passion. So when I was always collecting hockey, I started collecting a lot of Oriole cards, started collecting Cal Ripken cards. And then when I thought that one night, Saturday night in Strongsville, you know what? I need to focus on something different, and Jackie was where I started. So
So there's a couple of things I want to follow up with you here. So we're talking Strongsville, which is April, but this is the 2023 show, right?
that's correct.
So this is a year and a half ago,
Yes,
and your buddy My Canadian Cards buys the 49 Bowman Jackie. You're like, this is, maybe I should look into Jackie, and that's when you bought your 55 Tops Jackie, which
that's
was
correct.
your first one.
That's right.
Now, a year later, you went back to Strongsville, which is when we met. So this
That's
would have
correct.
been not quite 6 months ago.
Yes.
I feel like I've known you longer than that, but
It
uh,
does feel like that. It really
yeah,
does, Greg.
yeah, and you added another Jackie to your collection. Now, if you haven't seen his Strongsville pickup show, you definitely want to check that out. But tell us what you bought there.
Well, so going into the Strongsville show this past April, the 2024, by this time I have possibly anywhere I probably picked up between 5 and 10 other good 50s, 47, 48, stuff like that. Not 48, pardon me, 47 Bond bread. I picked up some 53, 54 tops. But I went into Strongsville this year looking for one card, and it was the 48-49 Leaf Jackie. And that was the whole intent,
Yeah.
was that show.
Now, when you have the intent of a particular card, it doesn't mean that the right one is going to be there. Just
Exactly.
because you want to go there and you want to get a particular card, you can't force it. It's got to be the right one.
That's correct.
And I am 100% sure that you got the right one.
Greg, you can't be more correct than what you said there. I went into the show, we got there, and unfortunately my good buddy Mike had issues, so he couldn't come with me. So I drove myself this year. So I got there, met a bunch of YouTubers for the first time in the lobby of the hotel. So we go over to the show, and within the first couple hours, being such a smaller show, but bigger than it has been in the past, you have the opportunity to really move through it quickly if you are pinpointing a certain card. So I got the opportunity, for the most part, for the first 3-4 hours, going by almost all tables, and I seen anywhere from 7-8 samples of that card, but not one of them did I stop and actually look at it, where I asked to be, can you show me it? I mean, I looked at the price range. I looked at some of the grades. I looked at the eye appeal, and I'll be quite honest, they were in my mind. Obviously, I knew where they were, but nothing really stroked me. It
Yeah.
just didn't. It didn't. I'm almost finished going through the whole arena by this time, and I'm on my last little lap. And that's when I came across the one that stopped me in my tracks. And it really did stop me in my tracks, even though I look at other ones.
Mhm.
I stopped, and that's when I looked at it for a couple minutes just to see what it looked like. And that's when I thought to myself, this is the one I really, really want. How do I make it happen?
Yeah. And I remember you you were so pumped at the show when you eventually get it. And one of my favorite parts is you telling me, and I think you were telling me this, it was either in the show or in the hangout area that we did that night. You were telling me how you were like, I want to buy this card, but I'm gonna call my wife first. And you said, I'm gonna call my wife, and you'll never believe, because I married the right gal.
Yeah.
And tell us what that conversation, that phone call was like.
So here's how it went down, and you're again bang on. I'm looking at the card. I'm talking to the dealer, Steve Winnick, and we're talking back and forth. And I've never seen this gentleman before at a show, or I've seen him since at a show. But anyways, I asked to see the card. He has a tag on it, a price on it. We're looking at it, and by this time, I'm basically thinking I got to see how I can make this work. So I talked to him, asked him some more questions, asked him a little bit of detail about where did he get it from, how long he's had it, and this and that. But I still hadn't taken the card out of the plastic sleeve to really get a good in-depth. The eye appeal, my first step is to look at it. Wow, I like that card. So I'm thinking to him, and I asked him a question. I says, listen, I'm pretty interested in this card. And I says, what are you thinking? Is there any room on it? And he had mentioned that he came off that number, $1,000. So I'm thinking, soon as he came off that number and he went down $1,000, I'm thinking I'm in play. And that's what I'm thinking to myself. So I talk a little bit more, this and that. And I says, you know what? I'm going to go have a drink, water, and think about this, see how it's going. And that's when I left the arena. I went straight out to the sitting area further down. And I sat on the bench and I'm talking to myself. And there's this older lady beside me. And I wouldn't say older. She's younger than I am. But she'd be in her 40s, 50s, whatever. She hears me talking about the cards, and she says her husband's in the arena, which I end up meeting that meet and greet night. And I'm talking to her about it, going over it with her about this. I thought, you know what? I'm going to phone my wife. So I get on the phone. I phone the wife. I said, I tell her about it. I tell her the money and where we're at and all that. And she says, listen, you went down for that card. If you want that card and it's the card you really like, buy it. Mm-hmm. And soon as she said, and that was the point where, yep, I'm getting this card.
Yeah. So did you go straight back in and do it?
I go straight back in. So, but before I go in, Greg, I think of it. I try to think of a way how it can go. I'm thinking to myself, how do I get it at the best price possible, which I'm thinking a little bit lower. I know what he has said, and I'm thinking, well, there's got to be a little bit more room. So we're going back and forth, and I'm going back and forth in my head how I'm going to play this, because I try to play it out, because I'm not talking about a $500 card or $1,000 card. We're talking a 5-digit card, and I got to think, I want to try and get this for the best price possible, but and I was willing going back in there, paying that price that he gave me.
Yeah.
I knew for the sake of $500, I'm not going to walk away from a card that I believe was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Walk back. I go back in. I start talking to him again. And I ask him, can I take it out of the sleeve? I take it out of the sleeve. I look at it just to make sure that there's really no crease that I'm missing. It was an SGC 2.5. But the eye appeal, in my opinion, was superb. So
I completely agree.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking there's nothing that's really standing out to me. Yes, it's got the soft corners, but the centering, the color, the registration, it's all really nice for that grade, and it meets my price point. So I'm sitting there and I talk to him, and this is when now I start to try to see what I can get it for. I basically cut it off another $1,000 from what he was asking. And he says, I'm not sure if I can go that low. And before he even finished, I says, how about meet me halfway then? He looked at me, he looked at the card, he says, deal. And bang, I had it.
Yeah. You got to see that. You were pumped, and we were pumped for you. If you haven't seen the card, head over to his channel after you hit subscribe. Check out the Strongsville pickup, and then check out his pickups from the National too. He got some really cool cards at the National. It's not the only card you got at Strongsville. We can't tell everything that you bought, because then they won't go watch. So you want to go check this out. Now, another question, I guess I didn't write it down, but I do have another question I'm going to flash on the screen in a second. But first, I have a question. You started to talk a little bit a second ago about where you're from in Canada. and that you mentioned Wayne Gretzky. Now you have a little bit of a background with Wayne Gretzky. Tell us about that.
I do. I was fortunate. I'm the same age as Wayne. I grew up with a family of five brothers. There were six boys. So we were always in sports. So my background mainly with Wayne, as much as I would love to say was with hockey, but we weren't a family that we could afford to go and travel and do all that stuff. But baseball it was simple for us. So I played baseball with Wayne growing up for like 8 years. I have many times have gone on trips with him and his family to out of town ball games, and my mom's come with us and all that. And obviously, because of six boys, my dad's taken one child somewhere and someone else goes somewhere. But Wayne was one of the nicest guys. The family is just superb. They were just spectacular. And he was an incredible athlete in everything he touched. It was incredible. I mean, I haven't seen Wayne in many, many years, because I think the last time I saw him was at a hockey game for his younger brother in the early 80s. And we hung out at the arena for about an hour shooting the breeze. And this is as his third, fourth year with the Oilers. But it was just unbelievable the times we had growing up as kids.
Now, let me ask you this about Wayne. So, you spent some time with him, you knew him, you played baseball with him. He famously bought a Honus Wagner, was partners in a Honus Wagner card. Yeah. And so he obviously had some interest in cards. When you were kids, do you remember him collecting cards?
No, I don't remember. I know as a kid, I collected a lot, but being from a different area of town, most times when we hung out was at the ballpark. Mm-hmm. And it was for practices, games, and stuff like that. I mean, one of the great stories that I have from the time when he signed his first contract with the Indianapolis Pacers, when he went to the WHA that weekend, he bought a silver Trans Am. And
that's awesome.
And that night, the Friday night,
how old was he when that happened?
He was 16.
Yeah.
Turning 17. Was it 17? I'm not sure if 16. I think it might have been 17. I can't remember. Shit. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he bought the Trans Am, and that night, myself, another NHL player that played goalie, Greg Steffen, he played for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
And myself and Lenny Hackborn, I believe it was, who played for the Philadelphia Flyers. The four of us ended up going to an out-of-town game in his brand new Trans Am.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
now, when you're around an athlete like that, because one of the things that I've always heard about Wayne Gretzky was how many goals he scored in like youth leagues for hockey.
Oh.
So he's like tearing it up as like, because he was playing like up age divisions. So he's playing like up 2 or 3 age divisions. Yes. And the number of goals, I don't remember it, but it's like this insane number of goals that he was scoring against kids that were 2 and 3 years older than him. Yes. But he still was playing baseball. He still was playing, going to practice, and he was going to games. And so he was still, even though he's this absolute phenom in hockey, he still was playing other stuff like a normal kid.
Yes, he was a normal kid. I mean, and he was he was probably the best athlete, best player on our ball team. I was fortunate our ball team was one of the better ball teams in our province of Ontario. And that's because of guys like him and even Greg Steff. These guys who were super hockey players were also, they were just athletes. That's what we did as kids back then compared to what they do now, where they mainly focus on one sport year round.
Yeah.
back then we played all the sports.
Yeah.
And that's just what we did. And when hockey was over, it was baseball season. When baseball was over, I was playing football. We played
Yeah.
lacrosse. I had to give up lacrosse, and so did Wayne, because we played baseball in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was just a gift. He was a gifted athlete, but no one was special more than anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool to hear you talk about him being a good guy because, when they're, especially with him having all the accomplishments he had with hockey, you never know what that does to somebody.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he was just a normal guy and a totally cool guy is pretty awesome. Do you have a Gretzky rookie card?
I have two, and I sold them both.
Okay.
Now I still have probably 50 graded ones of him from other years. I sold the two because they were copies that I got. It's not the copy I want. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the outside of buying vintage baseball, outside of buying Jackies, the only other non-baseball card I will buy, besides the odd little non-sports cards, will be a Gretzky rookie again. I will be looking for another Gretzky rookie.
Now, last question about the whole Gretzky thing. Uh, by the way, this is our first international short-winded. But that being said, will it be an OPG or would it be a Tops?
OPG.
All the way, right?
Absolutely.
No, what is
OPG.
the what do Canadians think of Tops versus OPG? Is it like not even the same thing, or what's the take?
They don't really think of it. If most people, most Canadians up here would rather have the OPG.
Yeah,
Tops really does not sell up here.
yeah.
It
It doesn't
really doesn't.
scratch the itch.
No, well, it's again. I mean, yeah, no, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It really doesn't. But what's surprising about that, Greg, is OPG baseball cards up here aren't really plentiful.
that's
And
interesting.
because I buy the odd OPG baseball card when I see it, but you don't see a lot of 70s OPG baseball. You see
It,
the odd 80s, but
mm,
it's not that plentiful, and it's surprising.
interesting. It just must not have been that popular. It wasn't as widely produced, maybe.
I don't think it. Well, I don't think it was compared to the hockey,
Sure.
obviously, but even then, yeah, it's surprising how you see very little.
Yeah. All right. I got one last question for you, and then we will take a look at your questions for me. So, from right now, kind of moving forward, what are some? You just mentioned that the Gretzky's on the eventual list, but who are some specific players and cards that you've got your eye out for that you'd like to add to the collection?
Well, there's three more Jackie cards that are priority 1, 2, 3 outside of
Okay.
the Gretzky card. The 1952 Tops Jackie is my number one priority and will probably be the most expensive one to get, and possibly the easiest one to get, because I think I'll have more opportunities at the bigger shows to get that one compared to the next two. The next two is the 1954 New York American Journal. That's another one on my list. And the third one is the I think it's the 19, the one I seen that Ash had at the Philadelphia show, which is the All-Star pinup.
Oh,
It's with the green, it's got a green border around it, and you can get it cut or not cut. So I got to do a little bit more work with that. There's three, like I said, there's three different kinds I want to get. The American Journal is going to be a tough one, just because you don't see it very often.
hmm
So that's the main thing when it comes to the cards that I'm really interested in. And I'll be honest, since the National, I've really not bought hardly anything.
Sure.
I think I've spent $150 on $5, $10 cards, like some OPG baseball cards.
Yeah. You're more of a saver for the big ones, so that when the big one shows up, you've got the funds, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I to be honest, because I remember seeing an episode. I think you just talked about that.
Yeah.
The last, I think it was just the last Q&A episode you had, where do you save up for the big one or do you buy
Yeah.
it? And as much as there's a lot of things I like to buy, those that 52 is on my mind,
Yeah.
similar to the way the 49 Leaf was, 48,
Yeah.
49 Leaf was.
Yeah. It's a beautiful card, and it's a really important card. I think that card has a lot of upside. I think that it's just awesome. And our friend Darren got one at the
Mhm.
National. He bought it, I believe, from Ash, and
Yes.
a few other of our friends have picked them up. I got to hold a beautiful one
Yeah.
in my hands
Yeah.
at the National from my friend Dave. Unbelievable. But yeah, okay. So all right, so time has come for me to see how I do. I've been on kind of a winning streak lately. We were kind of calling it batting average, like what am I batting? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm 5 for 8 now. And then somebody said it's more like your win loss percentage, and I'm like, you know what, it really is.
Mhm.
So I think I'm 5 out of 8. So that would make me 5-3, 5 wins, 3 losses. So this is episode 9,
Mhm.
which we'll see what happens here. But I'm excited for your questions, but I'm always a little bit nervous because I want to win. But
Yeah.
that said, I'm going to go ahead and put 5 minutes on the clock, and when you're ready, you can go ahead and begin.
Okay. 1. What is your favorite or least favorite chore at home?
Ooh, least favorite is dishes. Favorite's mowing the lawn.
Okay. What is or was your favorite amusement park ride?
I love Pirates of the Caribbean. Still is. I love that ride. The smell there is great.
Nice. If you had to lose either hydro or the water system for a month, which one would you keep?
So I couldn't have water for a month?
Or hydro for a month?
What's hydro?
Power.
Oh, geez. I would have no power.
Okay. Apple or pumpkin pie?
Apple. That one's my mom's apple pie is insane.
That's
So
better.
yeah.
If you had a chance to announce one sporting event, what would it be and who is your color commentator?
Oh, announce like okay. I would announce the Ryder Cup, and my color commentator, oh man, I think would be. That's a good question. I'd love to sit in the booth and my color guy be Tom Watson.
Yep.
Ryder Cup, Tom Watson.
Okay. What is your favorite or go-to snack?
Chips, Doritos, Cool Ranch Doritos.
Okay. What vehicle would you wish to own?
I kind of have what I like. I have a Ford truck, which is fine. Um, Jesus, is hard. Um, I don't know. My wife really wants a Range Rover, so I'm going to say Range Rover so she could have it.
Okay. Which charity or community service is important to you or near to your heart?
I'd say every local church.
Cheers or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
You're a musician. Which band would you want to be in?
Oh, which band? I got to go with my guys, Weezer.
Weezer. Good.
Weezer. Yeah.
Woo!
My
Just
buddy
like
Shane will
that.
be happy about that one.
Nice. You're an athlete. Which rookie season would you want to have? Michael Jordan or Caitlin Clark's?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm going to say Michael Jordan.
Okay. Excluding Charlie Brown, who is your favorite Peanuts character?
Linus.
Using these three characters from The Wizard of Oz, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, or Lion, which one describes you best as a kid?
As a kid, probably the lion.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
What is your favorite board game to play?
Scrabble.
Which is your favorite holiday of the year?
Oh, I like Christmas because you get to spend time together. But the one that I love and think doesn't get what it deserves is Good Friday.
Mm-hmm. Which iconic site or place that you and your wife would you visit first?
That's an interesting. Eiffel Tower.
Okay. First jersey you bought with your own money.
Roger Clemens, Yankee uniform.
College rivalry football game you would want to attend.
Army Navy.
Excellent choice. Most interesting YouTube video that you have watched in the past week. Interesting.
I think it was within the last week. It was the brothers duo, and I was right at the buzzer. Now I need to fully explain that. I think I got it. We're gonna have to go to instant replay.
One more question.
Oh, then I lost. That was number 19. Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Ask the question. I lost.
And this was an easy one. Favorite season? Winter, spring, summer, fall?
Fall. Dang it. All right. The brothers duo. So it was about a week ago. It might have been just over a week ago, and that's what was throwing me. So Iconic Al and his brother, High Pop Professor, did a video.
You talked about it.
Yes, and it was fantastic. I think it was just over a week ago, but in my head, I was thinking about it, and then I was like, well, when will this post? Because if this posts and it's more than a week, then people are gonna. So I had all this trauma that I'm dealing with as I'm trying to think about. But that was the most interesting in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
I also, if that one was over a week ago, since I've already lost, I would say that I really enjoy my friend Mookie Chilson. I really enjoy his videos, and I always learn things from his videos.
Mm-hmm.
And he does these data dives, but it's like a history dive, and he weaves things together. And he bought a really cool card at the Philly show, and he did a video on that big card. And so I always find his stuff interesting, and so that would be the other choice if the other one was outside of a week. I gotta tell you something, Steven. Your questions were really good. Like those were really, really good questions. Like the Tin Man and the cow. I mean, there was some really good stuff in there. That was fantastic.
I tell you, that one was because when I look at it and as soon as you said the line, I think that way myself also. As a kid, sometimes you're a little scared, or you don't you don't try to put yourself out there. I mean, I take because just listen to you speak over the last so many months and year. you speak about you're not really a guy that likes to be out there in the center of attention, because some people want to be the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
being on the outside.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've actually had a few people reach out to me about me saying that, and have emailed me and said, Greg, that really hit home to me. Is
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really the guy who I'm kind of more introverted, and then other people are like, I don't believe you that you're in you're introverted. The thing is like I'm a teacher, so I have to be able to
Yep.
present,
I
and
know
I have to
exactly
be
what you're
able
going to
to be
say.
social. It's just very, very, it takes a lot out of me. it's
Yeah.
it's very tiring. My
Mm-hmm.
natural personality is to kind of be a wallflower and more observe from the corner, and
Mm-hmm.
that's natural. But as soon as I'm being social, I can be social,
Yes.
and I like being around
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
people. It's
Yep.
just hard for me, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's tiring. And so as a kid, I mean, I was painfully shy as a kid. I
Mm-hmm.
just painful, and I still am, and I know that seems impossible, but
Mm-hmm.
it really is. It takes a lot out of me to not be quiet and shy.
I
It's
I agree with you totally, because I am like, for me, I because I would have been said the line for myself also, because
mhm,
for me, in the right setting, I'm good. Sitting here
yeah,
chatting with you, I'm good. Being at work in a position where I know, I think it comes to the point where if you know your topic, or you know if you read the room properly, I'm good.
mm,
It's when you get to those elements where, it's like the sock hop in grade 7 and 8, when you go there and the girls are here and you're there, and it's like, wow, someone make a move.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know what puzzled me the most out of the questions I asked, and I thought about this, and I kind of did a little bit of research, was the Jordan and Caitlin Clark.
yeah. It's the thing. Here's my take. I mean, Jordan was obviously a very good college player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that the height. I think the reason I went with Jordan is because Caitlin Clark is very good,
Mm-hmm.
but Caitlin Clark is like the central figure in the WNBA. Like if you made a WNBA magazine,
Mm-hmm.
even though she's not the best player at the
Yeah.
moment, she's very good. She
Yep.
would be the front and center,
Yes.
like face of she's the face of the WNBA.
Yes.
Even though there are a few players that would be like she wasn't even picked for the women's Olympic team,
Exactly.
but Jordan was a big name and people
Yep.
knew him and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't the face of the NBA. He was the young guy who
Yes.
was not the face of the NBA yet. So I would rather be kind of like the guy, oh, you pay attention over there, and what I'm going to do over here is going to be
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and you'll eventually figure out that I'm a big deal. I think that's kind of where my head was on that one.
And I agree that that context is perfect. The other one that you said without even a thought, which I'm shocked, because I agree, because I think it's the best game of the year, Army Navy.
Yeah.
And
There
there are so many good rivalries. Don't get me wrong. I'm an
yeah.
Auburn Tiger guy. I
Oh,
want to see Auburn and Alabama. But if
yeah.
I had the choice to go to a game, and I get to go to one game, it's
Yeah.
Army Navy, without
You,
a doubt.
you know, there's a few things about it. I mean, I'm a patriot. Like I love my country.
Hmm.
I genuinely think the American flag is an absolutely gorgeous item, emotionally,
Hmm.
physically. I love it. And that is like embodies patriotism, but it also embodies like teamwork.
Hmm.
And I also kind of like how they don't play a standard pro style football. Like
Yep.
they're like triple option teams, and they're doing, none of the guys are going to be names, they're not household names. They're not going to be going on to play in the pros. They didn't go there because it's going to get them a higher draft pick status. They went there for this other thing, but they're doing what they love because they love it while they're there, which is like so cool to me. And all those guys in their uniforms in the stands are like, those are like the best of the best. To get into those academies,
Yes.
you've got to be absolutely phenomenal. And it's just so cool to see that. And I love it.
It's the future when you think about it. When you talk about the stands, I mean, I concur with you again on the fact of patriotism. I mean, I'm an extreme proud Canadian. But there is no one I would love being beside me more than who's beside me.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, obviously it's our way of life. And we are a product of our environment for the most part. And you're right. I'm proud of what we are. I am.
Yeah.
And to the point where when I go to work, I don't have I've never been in the army or never served or anything like that, but I find it extremely important to the point where every Friday I wear red to honor the Canadian soldiers of the past, present, and future. And that's the only way I can truly show my gratitude and appreciation for what they do to help my way of life.
Yeah. That's well said. I just couldn't respect those guys more, and that's their day in the sun, and it's fun to just get to see the excitement and everything. So,
and college sports did it right by giving them their own day.
Yeah, that's true too.
That is important. So they at least they know what's important too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome.
All right, my friend. Well, I got to tell you, again, the questions were great. I loved hearing your stuff about Gretzky. I loved remembering back to our time in Strongsville. Are you going to go back to Strongsville this coming year?
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Dates, rumors are starting to sprinkle out there about some dates. So
it's usually the third weekend, isn't it?
I think it's going to be earlier this year.
Oh.
Yeah, there are some rumors floating around that it's going to be the 11th, 12th, and 13th of April.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, I mean that they haven't posted that on their website, but that's kind of what is circulating at the moment. So my plan is to be there again. I know a few people that I haven't met that have reached out and asked if I'll be there, and I don't want to say 100% yes, because then if I don't want to, not be a man of my word. But at the same time, I've booked my hotel room, so I'm planning on being there. So unless something unexpected
You've already booked your hotel room?
I booked my hotel room a couple days ago.
So you booked it so since you know I'm going to go book mine now.
So it was 11th, 12th, and 13th is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I booked my check-in for Thursday the 10th. Let me just double check this. I booked my hotel room. Let me look on the calendar, make sure I'm giving you the right date. I checking in on April 10th, which is a Thursday. The show is supposed to be 11th, 12th, and 13th. I'm checking out the 13th. I will not probably be going to the show on the 13th. I'll just be there on the 11th and 12th. Yeah. Now, but I will also say I did book it where the you have a date and it's like early April I can cancel up to, because there's the one where you pay in full and it's a little cheaper. Yeah, it's like $20 cheaper. Yeah. I did the extra $20 just in case that date is wrong.
Yep.
So for anybody out there that's listening that wants to book their room at the Best Western there, it's a Best Western, isn't that what it is?
That's correct. Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's tentative, but enough so that I booked a room.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, and for sure.
I'm also booking for the 10th also.
Yeah.
so we can hang out that night.
Yeah. We'll have
Because
a
a lot
drink
of
down at
people,
the bar.
yes, a
Yeah.
lot of people kind of roll in the Friday morning. That's
Yeah.
what we've done in the past. But I plan on going the 10th this time. And Mike and I were thinking about going to Canton on the Thursday beforehand. Go to the
Uh,
Football Hall of Fame, then come back to the hotel room.
I went to the Football Hall of Fame in 2001. It's been a long time, and I'm sure it's much different.
Yeah.
So, but enough that I've been there, and I don't feel like I have to go. But it's not a bad idea, depending on what time my flight comes in.
Well,
So,
we'll obviously be chatting before
yeah,
that.
for sure.
And from what I understand, there's going to be a lot more people who's in the community going this time. I think
Yeah,
it's going to be much larger than it was last year.
yeah. I've already talked to a handful of people that weren't there last year
Yeah.
that are planning on being there this year. A lot of people say to me all the time, Greg, National or Strongsville, pick one. And now in the last 6 months, I've been to both, and I would say it really kind of depends on what your goal is. Like the National is going to have volume wise
Mhm.
is just exponentially bigger. I mean, literally, Strongsville is in an ice rink.
Yes.
It's just drained. It's an empty ice rink, and the National, you could fit what, two football fields on
Yes.
3 football fields on it.
Yes.
So it's you can't even compare it.
No. Nope.
It is 95% vintage,
Hmm.
and a lot of the top dealers are there.
Hmm.
So there is that. But the reason I enjoyed Strongsville was because of kind of something you mentioned earlier, where you you're able to just look across the room and see all your buds. You make a pickup. You
Hmm.
pick up a 49 leaf Jackie Robinson, and your buddy Steven is 2 tables over, and you hear people hooting and hollering, and you walk over and you see what it is, and then you all get to see it. Versus, you picked up a couple of really nice cards at the National, and I don't remember if I ever got to see them, because
Yeah,
the only time we got to hang out was at that Ash's dinner
that's
party
right.
thing.
Yep.
So it's like it's just a different setting. So if you're there to hang out with some of your buddies, it's kind of like the college dorms. You got kind
Hmm.
of this dumpy room.
Yeah.
Don't you got this dumpy room which is across the parking lot from the
Yep.
show.
Yeah.
But it's not like the National in that regard. It's like you just converge on this one little spot, and you can hang out with some of your pals, and I know of several of my pals have already confirmed that they're going, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be spectacular again. And you made the best point is the fact that it's different on the it's more like a get together
Yeah,
the whole time.
yeah,
It's whether it's get together with these 20 people or these 10 people or going out for lunch here, going back to the hotel, have a small meet and greet. You are constantly surrounded by
yeah,
mostly everyone.
yeah,
And
yeah.
everyone,
If you wanted to meet people and you want to hang out with a couple of buddies, it's the place to go.
yes,
If you want anything you could imagine for your heart's desire for cards, you want to go to the National.
yes,
So it's absolutely possible you could go to Strongsville, have 3 cards on your list, and not come home with them.
that's
That's
right.
not going to happen at the National,
No.
but you're going to have a good time hanging out with people if that's your thing at Strongsville.
Yeah, and that's what I think Strongsville has become to our community. There
Yeah.
are some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Oh yeah.
Greg, you're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6 of the big dealers there,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and they are going to have the same stuff they generally have at the National, unless they
Yep.
pick up more stuff.
Yep.
But again, it's about. I'm using Strongsville more so now, looking for one card and hanging out with people.
Yeah. Yeah. I last thing I'll say is, it's really hard from where I live in Sacramento,
Yes.
California, to get to Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's just difficult. It's not a big airport. There
Hmm.
aren't direct flights from Sacramento, so I've got to drive 2 hours to San Francisco to get a direct flight, or I have to do a layover, and it's just not easy to get to.
Hmm.
So I don't know what each year is going to hold. I know
Yep.
I've booked my room for the National for next year and Strongsville. But
Hmm.
after that, my plan tentatively is I'll probably go to one, but not both,
Yep.
because it's just so hard to living on the West Coast. It's so hard to go all the way out
Yes.
there. So,
Well, I'm going to Strongsville. It's 100% unless obviously something happens.
mhm.
The national is up in the air
Okay, yeah.
because the second trip I want to make will either be Philadelphia, uh, Chantilly,
Mm,
or Nashville.
mm.
And that's because it will be a trip with my wife.
Oh, there you go.
You can go if I go to Philadelphia. We'll stay by the casino. She can go to the casino. I can drive to Philadelphia. I can go to the show during the day. Go back home. We can do something at night.
Yeah,
So I promise.
awesome.
Again, I could do that at Chicago, but the difference at Chicago, it will be a huge thing again with our community,
Yeah,
and it's hard. If I'm going to do that, I want to be with the community too, right?
yeah, yeah,
Whereas if I go to Philadelphia, I can go to the show, see everyone at Philly,
yeah.
go back. How's it going, honey? We can still walk around at night and go to the casino. Then I can
Yeah,
go the next day, do the same thing.
yeah.
It's a win-win for both of us.
Yep. I totally get it. Again, guys, Steven with a PH, at RipFan8. Check out his channel. I'll have a link in the description below. Buddy, thanks for coming on. I had a blast hanging out with you for over 50 minutes. We didn't quite win, but that was close. So questions were great.
I thought there was one left to go, and I'm thinking it was a simple one. And I'm thinking, I was surprised how fast the time went.
I know it's crazy, and when you're in my shoes, it goes even faster.
I think the car screwed you.
It did. The
The,
car
ve-
actually I struggled with
the
because I'm like
vehicle,
I'm not a car guy, so
yeah,
I'm just like I don't really care. Like
yeah,
I mean, yeah, Corvette Stingray's cool, but I don't need one.
yeah,
It's just not my thing.
yeah. I agree, Greg. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. This is awesome. I really appreciate it. I thank you very much, and it's always great hanging out with you. I mean,
100% agree.
this
100%.
I can't wait for Strongsville. I wish things could
Yeah.
be closer for all of us, but it just makes it that much better when we do hook up.
100% agree. All right, bud. Thank you, everybody. Again, the goal, let's get him to 250. 250 subs. That we can do this. He deserves it. You'll be glad that you did. I'll talk to you
Okay.
guys later.
Thanks, bud.
Bye.
Bye.